Today on MH News, we're faking a gunshot. Welcome to MH News, everybody. I'm your host, Matt Haslam. Now, like I said on today's episode, we're faking a gunshot with some pretty basic filming gear tools, and so it's really exciting for us. Now, the specific gear we're using is a Magnus VT3000 video tripod with fluid head. We're using a Neewer shoulder rig and a Canon C5i for this. But you don't need these specific pieces of gear in order to do this. All you need is a tripod with a fluid head, a shoulder rig, and a camera. That's it. And we're going to leave a link in the description below to this specific shoulder rig from Neewer on Amazon for about $100. It's well worth it, but again, you don't need this specific one in order to do this shot. All you need is a 15mm rod system. And that's really it. So basically what we did was we took off the little end caps here, and it comes with little end caps for this just to make it look pretty or something like that, and to protect you from having those threads in there get ripped or something like that. So first step in doing this shot is to take off this shoulder pad that normally lets you put it on your shoulder and run with it. So we're going to take that off somehow. And now we just have the 15mm rods. So we're going to take both of those off. Now, the next thing we're going to do is turn this thing around. And now we just have a caged type rod system for our camera. And we're going to attach both of them to the front here, just like so. And now we just have two rods sticking out the front. You might wonder, well, why do you do that, Matt? It's gonna get in your shot. Yes, exactly. That's exactly what we want. So we're gonna aim this wherever we want. And typically this is done on maybe a balcony or something like that, or on the side of a roof or something like that, you know, right next to the end of the roof. So this is typically done at a very high location, but because we don't have one of those today for the episode, we're not gonna do that. But if you have one, certainly go and do that, but certainly use safety precautions with that and use harnesses just to protect yourself. But now we're going to aim this wherever we want. And you might say, well, Matt, if you have a normal lens on here, you're not going to be able to see that at all, and you're just going to get a normal shot. What's the difference? Well, now if we zoom out all the way, this is a Canon C5i with a 18 to 55mm lens on it. So we're going to zoom out all the way on this. And so now suddenly you see those two rods at the end there, and it sort of looks like a machine gun. Now, you might say, well, it doesn't really look like a machine gun, but you can fake it. And the best part about filmmaking is the audience never knows the difference. So it's a lot safer to attach your camera to a shoulder rig rather than an actual gun, because if you attach your camera, whatever camera you have, even if it's a GoPro, if you attach it to a real gun and then shoot the gun, it's going to shake your camera, and the insides of your camera are going to get really damaged. So don't do that. What we can do here is we can put a scene in of a man with a machine gun shooting, and then cut to this shot and make it look like we're actually on the gun. Now, another thing we can do with this is we can detach one of these rods and attach it in the front here further. So now we have a rifle shot, which I think is the coolest part about this whole thing, by the way. So now we have a rifle shot. Again, we're zoomed out all the way, and we can point it wherever we want, and now we have a rifle. Now we can basically fake this by showing a scene of a man on the side of a building or on a balcony getting ready to shoot, and then cut to this. And we can add graphics to this shot in post, making it look like the scope of a gun, so that as if we're looking through the scope of the gun to see what the shooter is shooting at. So now we can cut to anywhere we want and just go ahead and shoot this whole thing. And what I think the coolest part about this whole thing is now we're on a shoulder rig. So we can actually detach this thing from the tripod somehow here, once it's unlocked, Matt. And now we have a handheld rig. So we can make it look like, you know, you're running through the forest or something like that with a gun. You can make it look like you're running however you want, and you can easily shake this thing just a little bit to fake that little gunshot. And that's really all you need. And do some little sound effects and graphics in post with a little bit of fire on the very tip of this, and you got yourself a gunshot. But I think the best way to do this is on the tripod, because it's a lot sturdier and it makes it look like you're actually trying to aim for something in post. So that's our tip for the day. If you have any tips you'd like to share, please send them into questions@mhnews.info, and we'll certainly put them on the show if we find them worthy. You can send your questions into questions@mhnews.info. You can also comment below on Facebook or YouTube, or private message us on Facebook with all of your great questions, and we'll certainly get them into a Monday episode for a Q&A episode. Join us back here every Monday and Thursday for brand new episodes. Have a good one, people.